So these are the options for today's pick a pile reading. Each pile has a crystal and 3 oracle cards, one from the Akashic Records Tarot, one from the Astrocodes Tarot, and one from the Chakra Oracle. So this is group 1, and this is the Amanzanite crystal. And this reading is about what blockages am I currently facing. So the Amanzanite crystal is already telling us that there is a blockage coming up in the heart chakra. And I haven't seen any of these cards yet, so I'm very excited to see what's come up. So we got One of Scrolls, On Track, Third House, Communication, and the Crown Chakra. So I'd actually first of all say, although this reading is about blockages, I don't feel like you guys are too blocked up. In fact, I feel like you're experiencing a lot of awakenings and feelings of enlightenment, and your crown chakra is very, very strong. I think that the blockage that's coming up is in your heart chakra and has to do with your relationships and has to do with you figuring out healthy boundaries and who to trust, to see those red flags a bit better. I feel like in the heart chakra there's a blockage because you usually, when you've been hurt in the past or betrayed in the past, you'll shut down. But I think you're trying to do things a bit differently and trying to deal with yourself and deal with your emotions. That's why we have One of Scrolls, On Track. And in this card, there's in this picture, there's a picture of a clock here that I'm really being highlighted to. So for those of you who are not in a long-term committed relationship and are looking for love, or even like looking for better friendships, I feel like that's something that's within divine timing. And with you figuring out how to release these toxic relationships, that's exactly how you are going to get there. So in this third house picture, there's also a picture of 2 birds. And birds have been something that I've been getting a message about in the collective energy a lot recently. So you guys, this pile, I can definitely pick up a very psychic, very sensitive, definitely are empaths, especially with this green Amanzanite crystal, telling us, like I said, that there are blockages in the heart chakra, but more so in terms of it opening. So let's see what else is coming up for this group in terms of what blockages are you guys facing right now. What is currently blocking your path? Yeah, I can definitely see, for one, it has to do with relationships. And like, I think that like you guys are very tired of feeling like an option, and also not feeling like you're not picked, like within your friend groups or even family situations. With the 4 of Swords coming up, and this card is coming up in reverse, I do feel like you're in a space where you're tired of putting in energy into relationships and tired of trying, and right now trying to look at your options in terms of where can I better put my energy. I feel like you have been disappointed and left out in the cold a lot in your relationships. There has been a lot of betrayal, and that's why you really are trying to consider concepts like trust and like also I feel that a lot of the people, and I just saw an eye in my mind's eye now, so that's telling me that you guys do have a really great intuition. You have a really good sense of people as well, but when it comes to your own relationships, like your own emotional investment can cloud that judgment. So just be careful with that. And I think that you are someone that in the past used to wear their heart on their sleeve, but I don't think that you do that anymore. And even some people may describe you as feeling like you changed, and maybe describing you as, air quotes, colder. But it's not that you're in any way colder. I think that you're just trying to figure out how can you better protect yourself, you know? Something that's coming through is that life on this earth plane is very much as free will is a really big factor that plays in, it's also about chance and about fate. And in fact, something that what I'm thinking about right now is the game Snakes and Ladders, right? And also with the dice. So playing board games can be a good way to kind of gauge where your energy is at. What I mean by that is that if you play Monopoly, you can kind of see where your abundance levels are at. With 30 seconds, you can see how your telepathic connection is with someone. So that kind of thing is coming up here. But with snakes and ladders, it just is the luck of the game, right? That's coming up more than with Monopoly. A lot of it has to do with strategy. There is also luck involved. That's why it's a good way to kind of read your energy. Yeah, but the throat chakra is opening up, and I feel like you are learning how to communicate better in terms of with yourself and with your own feelings. Like you're able to express yourself better to yourself about when you're not feeling great, but you haven't yet worked on being able to make that expression outward. So I feel although you have isolated yourself from a lot of your relationships, from a lot of people, at the same time, I don't feel like you're feeling alone, because your inner world is very big, and I feel like there's a lot of spirit communicating with you too. So you're very preoccupied with things that are going on in your sphere and in your energy, and that's exactly where you need to be right now. But also something that's important to remember is that these relationships, especially the ones that we can't run away from, like familial relationships, they are here, or we contracted to learn specific lessons around them. And it can be difficult, especially when we're dealing with people who are stubborn or egotistical, or whatever the case may be, selfish, who don't want to make an effort to grow and change, so that we can heal the relationship and that we can heal the way that we communicate with others. But I don't think that we have to wait for that other person to get to any place to begin our healing. I think that we can reflect on things that have already happened, and we don't always need a response to get to that kind of reflection. So that's something that I would recommend for you guys. Even journaling is going to be a good idea, because I feel like you are in your head a lot about how people hurt you and how people may have backstabbed you, and maybe also blaming yourself about feeling like why didn't you pick up on this earlier. But that is why the heart chakra is coming up as a blockage, because you really struggle to be kind and compassionate and patient with yourself. And that's something that you've always showed other people. And that's something that you're grappling with right now. Like, why is it that I'm constantly showing love to others and not finding that in reciprocation? Largely has to do with overgiving and not expressing your needs. Like I said, you've become much better at expressing your needs to yourself, but then you don't extend that outwards in the material world by expressing it to others and including that in the boundaries that you draw up for yourself. I just want to get some cue cards. So we might have some letters coming up in these cue cards, and that will just be a confirmation that this is the right pile that you picked. We have the letter C coming up. Oh, also telepathy. We spoke about telepathy with 30 seconds. So I feel like with this group, there may be like someone specific, especially if it is a lover that you recently broke things off with, but you're still very much feeling their energy. That's coming through. So then that makes it even more difficult to kind of heal and work through your stuff. We also have I coming up, the letter I, or maybe telepathy, and then this could almost be the word ice. So maybe like people are dealing with sore muscles over here. What else do we have? Travel. And that makes sense with on track, and there's a train here. So you may have a travel coming up soon. I feel like it could be to visit family or to visit friends. Let's go for one more card. Healthier eating. And we have K, ick. And then we have M. So like I also feel like something that's coming through here with this word ick is that you are probably feeling to an extent disgusted with yourself about like letting people in that you felt like you should have known better. With the Three of Swords, I can really see that you guys are beating yourself up and looking into the past a lot. So just be careful with that and try to be more kind to yourself. And then we have sex dreams also coming up. And this was coming up when I was shuffling earlier, but it didn't pop out. So if you are having dreams of this person that we were talking about, I think what's coming through is that they're probably having dreams of you too, because it's coming up as telepathy. And then to end off, I just want to read the message out of the Astrocodes Oracle book, which is third house communication. If your chart were a village map, the third house would represent your local neighborhood, primary school, and corner pub. It symbolizes how you learn, communicate, and move around your familiar world based on your sibling-like relationships and the people in your local environment. There again, relationships coming up. So we hit the nail on the head earlier about the heart chakra being the blockage, and there's expansion going on there in that space. The action of this card says, check the lines of communication and your thinking process. First, repair any actual technical glitches, loose wires, computer or phone problems. Then take this metaphor a step further and look at how your messages are sent and received. And Mercury is about to go into retrograde, so that's also something coming up for this group. Maybe it's time for you to learn a little bit more about what Mercury retrograde is and how it's affecting you. When in doubt, ask for more information and repair any miscommunication. Then take this metaphor in-house and look within. Notice the quality of your thinking. Repair glitches, stretch your mental muscles, and improve the quality of your communications. Also, something that I'm picking up here about self-expression, because I just saw the word stretch marks. So I feel like there may be some people here who are quite insecure about their appearance and may have opened up to someone, a lover, and now are feeling very rejected and maybe even disgusted with yourself. There's a message coming through here for you, particularly about the sacral chakra and holding more space for yourself, being more compassionate and kind to yourself if you want others to treat you that way. You may need to learn new ways to express yourself so others hear your true intentions. Think about how you learn to communicate growing up through your relationships with siblings or sibling-like friends, your early school experiences. Investigate how those early relationships formed mental habits that may affect you in the present moment. You may need to get out of your head and get a fresh perspective. Observe and test your assumptions. Check for confirmation bias, the tendency to believe anything that supports your opinions and reject new information that challenges your worldview. Read a spiritual text or ponder a metaphysical concept and let it stretch your mind. Lots coming up here about the word stretch. So maybe you guys have stagnant energy, and doing some stretching will actually help release some of that energy in your physical body. Check in with siblings and sibling-like friends. Look for any shadow of rivalry and see how you can switch it to mutual encouragement where all win. It's up to you to reframe this dynamic. The challenge is, chatter is not the same as communication. Sibling rivalry can challenge you to grow in small doses, but don't let it distract you from self-direction. Stay on target. And then the gift of this card says, we are all siblings in the eye of spirit. Okay, so those are all the messages that are coming through for this group. I hope you enjoyed them, and please let me know in the comments what resonated or what other kinds of readings you would like me to do. So now we are on the second group, and these are the cards that came up for this group. Okay, so we got the heart chakra, we got midheaven pinnacle, and we got diversity. Okay, so I feel like right now you guys the blockage that's coming up for you is within your money and your career, and you wanting to make advancements or changes and having a lot of options right now, but also probably a lot of pressure, whether that might be pressure in terms of fitting into the right career, pressure from external figures like partners or parents, or even people that need support from you. With this heart chakra coming up like this, I wouldn't say that the blockage is in the heart chakra, because I feel like your heart chakra is coming up as really, really strong. And quite you definitely are empaths. You guys definitely give out a lot of energy, but the problem is that some of this energy needs to be redirected back to you if you want to be making any significant changes. With this card midheaven pinnacle, This card has a picture of a castle on it, a really grand and extravagant looking castle. This is from the Astrocodes deck, so at the end of your guys' reading, we will read the Oracle book. But what I'm noticing is that this castle looks like it's up in the clouds, and it also looks very unattainable, I guess the word is that I'm looking for here, like very fanciful and imaginary. And my candle is flickering as I'm saying this, so I feel like you guys are definitely big daydreamers, and I think you have lots of fantastic ideas about new ways that you can make money, whether it be small businesses or actually changing career. I feel like a lot of you guys have a lot of creative talents, and some of you here also may be really good writers. So what's coming through very strongly is your guides want you to express your creative talents more, because especially with the writers, because a lot of what you have to say comes from the heart, and that's what really resonates with people. I'm also seeing a sunset, so this might be a sunset or a sunrise. For something else for this group, I'm picking up Leo energy coming through quite heavily, and also the air signs. So well, now I'm also picking up Sagittarius, but the air signs are Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. So if any of those star signs are yours, then you know that that's a confirmation that you picked the right group. But with the sunset, I also feel like in some way or another you are at an end point, or about to begin a new chapter. Particularly, like I said, it feels like career, but I actually just saw a ring, so that might be actually indicating an engagement or proposal for one of you guys. And with the sunset, maybe I'm picking up the energy of someone who is planning that. But yeah, that's beautiful. Something that I want to mention about the heart chakra is the heart chakra is connected to the hands. So for instance, tarot readers, when they're shuffling, a lot of the energy that moves through the hands is coming from the heart space. And empathically, when we touch things, not just tarot decks but also crystals and other people, we are picking up and constantly exchanging energy. So for you guys, it's really important that you cleanse and release energy. I also feel that for a lot of you, you have like people working under you, or people what's the word, like checking in with you, or not, that's not the word, like not checking in, but people who have to report to you. That's what I'm getting. So especially for those people, like in terms of change and expansion, I feel like you've been in this role for a while and you're kind of too scared more than anything else to want something new and want something more, because you feel like your dreams are just fanciful and they're not rational or grounded enough. But that's where your blockage is that you don't really believe in yourself and you're not grounding these plans in reality. Hey, look at this. I said I saw the sunset. First card coming up is the sun. So with that being said, the sun is the ruling planet of Leo. So definitely a confirmation of that energy. But now we have the moon. Wow, this is very interesting. So the sun and the moon, and well, a bunch of cards fell out, so I'm not going to take them all. But the sun and the moon, for me personally, I've been hearing that a lot in the collective energy, like in music. Your energy for this group is very jumpy. So here I have a bunch of empaths who are not clearing their energy. I can see that. There also might be some twins in this group, some twin flames I'm picking up here. Ooh. See how the cards are flying out of the deck, but it's cool. Wow, oh my gosh, guys. Oh, man, I feel like if I could have picked a deck after looking at the readings, I would have picked this one, because I love all the cards that are coming out here. I love elements of the sun and the moon, and it talks about balance, it talks about yin and yang, salt and pepper, and that's why I got that twin flame energy. It's about the masculine and the feminine, the outer world and the inner world, the intuition and the material. Coming up here as a king of chalices, that might be a divine masculine's energy. Why I'm also emphasizing that is because you got both the Lovers card and the Six of Chalices. So I feel like for this group, you guys have someone in mind that you've already met, that you probably feel is going to be the one for you, the person that you're going to marry. I don't feel like you guys are in a connection right now, and that's why I feel like you're focusing a lot of your energy on work. There's heavy Leo energy coming up here. Here's the Strength card as well. So and yeah, see, focusing on work, the 10 of Pentacles. But I feel like, especially for any twin flames in this group, and again my flame is flickering as I'm talking about this, is that like with you guys, what's opening for you, or the blockage that you're currently working on, is releasing your twin, letting go of your twin. And with the Lovers and the Six of Chalices, this has to go with not only for twin flames, but for people who are in soulmate connections, that those connections have ended, but you kind of feel deep down that something might reignite with that connection later on. But at the same time, wait for no one, wait for nothing. Waiting also gives a sign to the universe that that's what you're manifesting. You were manifesting waiting. With the Nine of Pentacles coming up in reverse, I feel like you are an abundant person. I also feel like you're very charitable. You're a philanthropist. You give out a lot. But I feel like you're not getting back as much as you should be, especially from work. And for most of you, this is from an actual financial, monetary sense. For some of you, it has to do with stimulation and about being content. But we also have lots of major arcana coming up, like the World card. So you are exactly where you need to be right now. It is Virgo season, so it's a good time to put pen to paper and to start making lists about the changes that you would like to see. But I also do feel like you have been feeling unlucky in love, and you've just kind of like left that to the side. So that's fine for now. But I feel like you do pick up the energy of a lot of past lovers and even future lovers, because you guys are very energetically sensitive here. Now what I want to do is I want to get some cue cards and see what else is coming up. So we got Sai Baba. So I'm also going to get some letters. So then we get some confirmation here. We got K, the letter K. Travel. And this is coming up over the Sun card. So maybe your divine masculine is the distance from you. Healthier eating. Sun. Oh my goodness, what the hell, like why is this sun coming up so much? Maybe even with sun, I'm thinking about like a boy child, like a son. Maybe you guys have spirit babies coming forward, but I feel like that sun, well, let's ask about it, right? Ooh. I want to know more about sun. What is this about? Why is sun coming up so strongly? Okay, we got VFN, we got red string, so that has to do with the soul connection. We got BJ, oh my gosh, and we got 666. So I feel like this is someone that you probably have a sexual or physical connection with. I feel like sun, well, they seem to be saying that it represents a lover when I'm asking about to clarify what is the sun that's coming up. And awakened too, so maybe I do feel like it's talking about someone from the past, but this isn't going to apply to everyone, so just take what resonates. Oh, and here we have Lord Narasimha coming up too. Let's take one more. About one more card, please. Why? Whew. Okay, that's the last one. And here we have Earth and Sun. Oh, so many of these cards are falling out. Okay, so now we are going to read the Oracle card for Midhaven Pinnacle. The Midhaven contains clues about how your family trained you to be visible in the world, your relationship to other people's authority, and how you step in your own personal authority. It describes the future mountaintop, the pinnacle of your work in the world. The Midhaven is the highest point of the chart, where the sun would be at midday. The most public, visible point of the chart acts like the flagpole on top of your personal castle. The action of this card says inventory of your professional reputation. Wow, this is so crazy because this is exactly what I was channeling was coming through for you guys. This group seems to be very focused on career. And ask what you can do to strengthen it. Update your website, look at your definition of success and make sure it is your own. And it actually makes you happy and it's not one that you have inherited from family or mentors. Think about the training you've received from these authorities and notice whether it still serves you and where you need to release their preconceptions and step into something bigger. You may need to go back to hidden dreams or reawaken an ambition that may not make sense to anybody else. If you choose not to seek your sense of accomplishment as reflected in the outside world, your midhaven can speak of a quieter sense of personal authority. This is your life. Define the mountaintop for yourself. Take a step in that direction. The challenge says traditions, other people's expectations, or your family history may be complementary to your idea of your own potential, or they may be hurdles to overcome as you find your true path. Gift, underneath all that worldly sense of ambition is a soul's longing to live out its potential. Listen to the call. So just to wrap up about what's coming through for this group, in terms of a blockage, it has to do with the divine counterpart. So whether that be a twin flame, a soulmate, a karmic, someone that you are destined to be with in this lifetime. Yeah, Two of Cups coming up. So this person and you seem to be preoccupied and busy with other things in your life. And for you, that's career. So you're exactly where you need to be in hermit mode, away from others. And don't force yourself to socialize or to focus on things that you don't want to. If where you want to focus right now is your work, then that's exactly what you should be doing for yourself. Creating your own point of success. Okay, so this is the last group. And then this crystal is called sodalite and it's blue. So it does already draw and indicate to the throat chakra. So for this group, what blockages are you currently facing? The heart chakra, inner child. Then we got solar, calm, clarify from the Astrocodes deck. And for the 8 of forces, the lightning bolt. So what I can already see for this group is that you guys had a very difficult relationship with your parental figures. And especially around the time from about 14 to about 17, 18, it was probably quite tense and intense. Lots of tower moments, lots of arguments, lots of fighting and disagreement. You have a lot of work to do with your inner child. That's where the biggest blockage is coming up. And but something else that's also coming through with this card here, the lightning bolt. Oh, this was the thing, is that I also feel like a lot of you may have left the nest quite early or your parents' home quite early, but also kind of like in an escapist attempt. So for you guys, a lot of healing needs to be centered around the inner child. And I would highly suggest that you do a little bit of research about what the inner child is and how to work with the inner child. Because it's coming up so specifically in your reading, I will explain it a little bit. So when you think about the inner child, try to think about yourself at the ripe age from maybe about, well, let's say from the time that you're born till about 8, when you're very, very raw in the way that you absorb and observe things. So our parental figures or whoever is around us the most in influence will start picking up social, emotional, even mental habits from these people. And when these people are wounded, as we all are naturally as humans, then we pick up those things without even realizing. And a good example that I always like to give is that to think about Willy Wonka and the fact that his father was actually a dentist, and a dentist that never ever allowed him to eat sweets and chocolates. And so that's the effect of the parental wounding going in the opposite direction, but the effect is still there. That's why it's such a nice example, because although he turns into a chocomaniac, that influence definitely comes from not being allowed to have chocolate, right? So there's a lot of that wounding coming up here, and a lot of rebellious energy towards the parental figures. You might struggle with authority, and you might struggle to find yourself fitting into structured environments or even friend groups and that kind of thing. Like, I feel like I'm picking up a big lone wolf energy here, and not because you guys don't like to be around other people and socialize, but because you kind of have this idea that I'd rather be by myself. That way I won't get hurt. I don't have to depend on anyone. Like, you guys are coming up as hyper independent. I think that's the way to say it. Like, you rather depend on yourself than be disappointed. But then that's something that's blocking your heart chakra, blocking your ability to manifest love and stable reciprocal relationships in your life. Let's see what else is coming up. Okay, so we got the 10 of air and the 6 of air. And here's the mother's energy, Queen of Water. So even for some of you guys, you may not even have a relationship at all with your parents, and that would have been a decision that you may have made at a younger stage in your life, or a younger age, where you decided that like they were toxic and perhaps like not like, in your experience so far, not guiding you in the way that you would want to be guided or that you wish to do for your children. But also I feel something to think about is that voice in our head, that while we're thinking, that voice is shaped by our parents. So if our parents were critical and unforgiving, which it seems like your mother with the Queen of Water is coming through quite strongly, then that's how you're going to start talking to yourself. And especially when you get into arguments or disagreements with people, that's really when that nature comes out within you. You know, talking about that Willy Wonka reference, what that makes me think about is, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but during the movie, although his whole world, his whole factory was very childlike and child friendly, in a sense of like a wonderland for children, it wasn't safe for them, and he also didn't know how to interact with children. So that was a very clear example of inner child wounding. So sometimes people may identify you guys as perhaps immature, and I don't think it's the case that you're immature. I think you connect well with your inner child in a playful way. Like, maybe you like outdoor activities, like adrenaline activities, like quad biking, that kind of stuff, like dirt biking. I don't know why I'm getting that so specifically. Or just like the outdoors and like to do scary stuff that might get you killed. And it might also be because you are coming up as an empath here, so you feel so much all the time that you shut down, and then doing adrenaline related stuff makes you feel something again. But now this is interesting, because now we have a paternal father figure's energy coming through quite strongly as well, as the King of Earth and King of Fire. So for one, I think that this is like splitting up into two groups for father figures. For the mother is coming up as the Queen of Water for the whole group. So someone that could be a little bit emotionally manipulative and controlling, and emotionally demanding as well. And someone that might also be quite conflicted and undecided, very indecisive. And like, that's something that really affected you guys. I just saw like, I don't know if I can say that they're blood cells, but it looked like blood cells. What I'm picking up is, I think that there may be some of you in this group that are anemic. And if you aren't taking iron supplements, or if you're feeling a little bit tired and drowsy, you might want to check your iron. But I was talking about the father figure that's coming through. So we have the King of Fire. So for one group, or for maybe half of you guys, I feel like the father was very, very absent, very busy with work, and also maybe coming from a divorced home. Or like the father, just like, I don't feel like in the one group of you guys, it feels like you didn't live with your father and he had his own life going on. But in the second group, I feel like the second group also had a father that was very, very busy and preoccupied with work in the material world, but also very flighty, like probably went out drinking all weekend and like made a lot of time for friends but not for you and the family and your mom. And like the mom is coming across as quite emotionally deprived. So yeah, like I said with you guys, there's a lot that's coming up around the inner child, because I think you are in a point of your healing where you're trying to start to uncover the deeper stuff. So you're exactly where you need to be. And all of these reflections that are coming to light are helping you clear up your heart chakra. And I feel like you're not really in a space right now where you might be trying to manifest love, but clearing up this relationship with your parental figures will be good for your romantic relationships and your relationships in general, and your anxiety as well. I can see that you guys are struggling with a lot of anxiety. So what we're going to do now is we are going to get some cue cards that hopefully will get some letters. So that'll be a confirmation that you picked the right group. What did we get here? We got Mariamman. Wow, that's so interesting, because I did say the mother, and I was talking about a mother figure, but it did make me think of the mother generally. So that's Parvati, Mariamman. We have chakra alignment coming up. Karmic ties. So what your guides want you to remember is that parental relationships are very like pre-decided. So we have a lot of karmic lessons that we embed in these relationships. Spirit babies. So spirit babies are a type of guide that you can have, and you guys have spirit babies coming forward. And we also have Lord Ganesha coming up. So there might be Shriti Baba. There might be a lot of Hindus in this pile. We also have Durga Ma. We have Twin Flame, Sai Baba. We have the letter T, Buddha. This feels like a group that does really connect with spirit quite regularly. And then to the Twin Flame, we also have the letter G and the letter C. Twin Flame could be coming up as your guides want you to know that that is one of your spirit guides, your Twin Flame's higher self. We also have Lord Hanuman coming forward, Shiva Shakti, red string, Shiva Shakti again, and psychic connection. And you. Maybe that one was specifically for me. Okay, so now I want to read the message in the Oracle book for you guys. Okay, solar calm, clarify. When the sun is calm with a few sunspots or solar flares, its steady energy is quiet and soothes any turbulence in our solar system. The volume is turned down on all the other aspects of your astrological chart. Telescopes see farther into space. People tend to search for the metaphysical. Plant growth slows down on Earth, but the arts and creative processes often blossom. Politics tend to be opinionated but quiet, attitudes more entrenched. It's a hard time to start a revolution. The action of this card says, just appreciate the deep, energizing quiet of this time. Work for steady progress and play the long game. So this is in terms of healing with your inner child. Listen to your muse and support the arts. Take a creative approach and work towards positive change within the systems that are now in place with gentle, steady pressure. Find like minds and grow those deep connections. Listen to the quieter voices that are not usually heard. And we spoke about voices in the head. Whether this is a whispering voice of your intuition or the subtle voice of introverts or underrepresented. In romantic relationships, hold hands and look for places of quiet refuge together. Build relationships now that will help you manifest needed changes within needed changes when the tide turns and the sun activates. The challenge says it's not time to push ahead or spark change. If you try to motivate practical change in your life or try a totally new approach, it can feel like trying to light a match in the fog. Be patient and the fog will clear in time. The gift says meditation helps. Turn down the noise of the outer world and listen with clarity to the knowing within. Let go of the details of the story and feel the call to spirit, to connection and to the interconnectedness of all existence. In this quiet clarity, you can see far away to the distant stars and come to understand the overarching patterns. So for you guys, the overarching patterns have to do with realizing that you set things up this way to learn. You set up your karmic path with your parental figures like this to trigger you into healing and learning. So yeah, those are the messages I have for you guys. I hope that they all make sense and I hope that they resonate. And please leave a comment below to let me know how the messages sat with you, and if you have any other ideas of different kinds of readings you might want me to do in the future.